The RSPB labels the Derwent Valley a raptor persecution hotspot. That's despite nobody ever being convicted of killing birds of prey in the area. The claim is part of the charity's anti-grouse shooting campaign, and to back it up, its workers orchestrate trumped-up cases against gamekeepers. One example is Glenn Brown, who was convicted on the strength of video evidence provided by the RSPB. But the footage incriminates the investigators more than the suspect.
He's committed a statement.
Find out more in this episode of RSPB Uncovered, The Missing Bird Crime Files. Issue 65 of Legal Eagle magazine has a cage trap on the front cover, accompanied by the headline, "Covert Surveillance Gets Result." Inside, RSPB investigator Mark Thomas explains how gamekeeper Glenn Brown was convicted in June 2011 on 7 charges, including using the trap to lure birds of prey to their death. The charity provided about 40 minutes of what it calls video evidence. It begins with shots of the trap discovered by an RSPB worker in the Upper Derwent Valley in April 2010. A series of clips, said to be from May, show the trap containing birds, including a white pigeon and a pheasant. The pheasant was injured, but the RSPB left it there for days, then took it away to be euthanized. It would have lived had the RSPB workers left the door open, but the focus was a successful prosecution and not the bird's welfare. There is no evidence the birds were put there by Brown, or that he even visited or was maintaining the trap. The claims are entirely based on statements made by RSPB staff. On the 18th of May, a camera is hidden near the trap. During the same visit, Leonard cuts sections out of the pigeon's feathers, his way of marking the bird.
I've basically cut 2 small notches.
Do you want to zoom in?
The scene contains the only evidence of anyone harming birds. The camera captures Brown at the trap on the 20th of May. In less than 10 seconds, he walks up to it, looks inside, then walks away. Out of roughly 40 minutes, it is the only time Brown appears. The remaining footage is mainly RSPB staff prancing around the abandoned trap, which they have chosen to be the focus of their investigation. While a time code says the date Brown visited the trap was the 20th of May, it could have been filmed any day because it is fake, added later in edit by an RSPB employee. Thomas claims Brown visited the trap again on the 21st of May, but there is no proof, as neither of the hidden cameras spotted him. Instead, Thomas recorded a piece to camera.
It's the 21st of May 2010, we're in the Derwent Valley in Derbyshire. This is a closed cage trap, as you can see in the background, and in it is a white pigeon. Now that means one thing, this is set to catch and kill birds of prey. There's loads of feathers on the ground, and I think this trap's been used just previous to today, and it's probably caught a bird of prey. I'm now going to sit in the bushes down here and just watch and see who turns up with the trap. Quite clearly completely against the wall, this. And this is probably the kind of thing that's been affecting birds of prey in this valley for a very long time.
Despite knowing for several days about the illegal trap, Thomas didn't notify police until a day later, after a masked figure visited the trap and released the pigeon. In those clips, the fake time codes from the 2 cameras are about a minute out of sync. There is no logical reason for this, since they were both added later. If the mysterious masked figure hadn't freed the pigeon, there wouldn't have been an identical pigeon for the RSPB staff to find at Brown's house during the police raid days later. The case hinged on the marked bird being there, so it had to be released. Since Brown didn't return to the trap to release the pigeon, if it was even there the one time he did visit, the investigators resorted to Plan B. Brown's home was raided on the 25th of May, around 6 weeks after the RSPB snooping started. In that time, the charity workers had still only managed to get 10 seconds of the gamekeeper on camera at the trap. Video of the raid begins with a police officer walking towards the house. It then cuts to inside the pigeon shed, where Thomas is holding a white pigeon and showing the marks on the wings to a police officer, supposedly proof that Brown was using pigeons to lure raptors.
Cut 2 notches, and there's the finger.
Got 3 unique markers on that bird to identify it.
Okay.
The footage shown in court ends roughly there. However, there is another version of the raid video. It begins with a shot of the pigeon shed, filmed by Guy Shorrock. The microphone is on, and Thomas can be heard telling Leonard someone is covered in his statement before Shorrock whistles to alert the men to an approaching police officer.
He's covered in his statement. You're all covered in his statement. As soon as we've done this, he's going further back.
Mate, we're 8/10 done.
Sorry?
I say we're 8/10 done.
Right.
Why would anyone need to cover their statement unless they weren't telling the truth?
He's covered in his statement.
Why did Shorrock alert the men in the shed when a police officer approached? Was there something they didn't want him to see? How can Thomas, a charity worker with no powers of law enforcement, be allowed to take away and be in possession of evidence in a criminal investigation? What is seen and heard in the short raid segment is more conclusive than anything the RSPB produced to support its case against Brown. The full story and others can be found in RSPB Uncovered: The Missing Bird Crime Files.